Welcome back to another episode of Buster's Beat, the podcast where I sit down with other queer artists and entertainers and talk about life, the universe, and everything. Today, my very special guest is a good friend, fellow hometown queero, and none other than Miss Michael. Hi, Miss Michael.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me on my podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Let's take it back to the beginning of Miss Michael's timeline as a human being.
Yes.
Where do you start with your creative roots? Like, were you always like a creative kid? You know, did the painting come first? Did the music? Did the queerness? Did you find the queerness through the art? Vice versa? Like, take us back. The origin stories.
I think I grew up in a very musical household, and even my extended family was super into the arts. Like, my grandfather on my mother's side is a fabulous painter. I was always obsessed with his paintings, and so from a young age, I would always go into his big art room and just watch him paint, and he was so passionate about it, so and my mom's really good at painting and drawing, and so I always grew up around that. And then on my dad's side, his mom played the violin and was a singer, and he was a drummer, and so then my sisters and I played instruments and
So this is a multi-generational artistic.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so I feel like I grew up
more
around
in my
that.
family. I'm like the black sheep with the arts.
With the arts, yeah. No, I feel like I just was always surrounded by that. So from a young age, I was always very attracted to just the arts and being creative and doing things like that. I would make people in my family sit down and watch us perform,
do a little talent
dances.
show.
Yeah, and charge them to come watch me twirl an umbrella around. And
you charged them?
Yeah.
How much did you charge them?
I don't even know. This isn't even. It was at my parents' friend's house, and we charged to have them watch us. We all had umbrellas, and we were just twirling them around and stuff.
I'm so glad that you got that money. It's such a young age. We're we have something to show you. It's gonna cost you though.
We need to capitalize off of this.
That's smart. People usually don't learn that till way late in the game.
No, true. But so I was always just very fascinated by it, and I feel even in elementary school I would draw all the time, and so it just kind of came so naturally at a young age. I feel like I started drumming when I was 5.
Really?
Yeah, around that. And then my dad just immediately put me in lessons and was like, we're gonna do this. It was the Mamas and the Papas that
Oh my God, yes.
It was I think it was Monday or something that I played the drums to for the first time. And so I think my parents really encouraged that, which was nice.
Yeah.
So it just kind of rolled down the line.
Musically, you started with the drums?
Yes.
And do you still play drums regularly-ish? Or do you have a drum kit at home that you get to mess around with?
Yes, I
Is
do.
it electric, or do you have the full?
Oh, the full thing.
The real deal.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
It's a black to gray ombre.
Are you
I love it.
have you been in bands and stuff? Do you want to start a band?
Oh my God,
Should we start a band?
To.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something I wish that I did when I was younger, because when I was in drum lessons, I remember being asked by someone to be in a band, and I was I'm always hold myself
You're so
back.
shy.
I am.
For someone who's just constantly performing, you're so shy.
It's crazy. And I was just too nervous, and so I was oh no, sorry, I can't do it. Even though I think I told him I didn't have the time. I was literally in middle school.
You're I'm booked and busy. I'm twirling umbrellas for big bucks at my parents' friend's house.
Yes.
I mean, I have to say, I know a lot of musicians, and I feel like drummers are the rarest. So, I mean, I know some people who need a drummer. So, if you're ever looking to get into a band, it's never too late.
I think sometimes I'm a little rusty. I'll go long periods of time without playing, which I should play more often.
Well, this is me. I'll start texting you on Wednesdays to be like, did you play the drums this week, Michael?
I love it. Yeah. Make sure you're practicing.
Make sure you're practicing so we can start a band.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, amazing. So, you started with drums. Are there other instruments that you play?
I fool around with other instruments. I'd say I'm not really amazing at.
Listen, I can't play any, so you can throw any instrument at me and I'll believe you. I won't be able to.
I mean, I can play a few tunes on the piano. Just Dance and Bad Romance. I taught myself how to play the piano.
I can do Heart and Soul.
Yeah.
But just one part at a time.
I feel everyone has at least one little song they can
I used to be able to do the the Godfather theme, because I had to take keyboard in high school, so that was what I walked away with.
I love that.
But I don't know if I could do it now.
I I guess like I can carry a little tune singing.
You do a little sing. I was gonna say, I know you have your own music because you've performed some of that.
Yes.
But you don't perform the vocals live. You just perform to your own tracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and actually, I like
so far.
And I would like to perform the vocals live.
Yeah.
I think the two that I've done so far. I didn't perform the vocals live because I think I was a little too nervous.
Understandable.
Even though the first show I did at Jock's where I performed one of my songs, the second performance I did was a live performance of Yesterday by the Beatles. So I'm like, why didn't I just perform my own song? But I think it was just something about it being my own song. And that track specifically has a little bit of like an auto-tune sound to it too. So I was like, I don't know if it's going to sound the same.
Gotcha. So we got to go the lip sync route for that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a certain extra level of vulnerability when you're performing your own music live. Because that happens to me too. Like I used to be terrified of doing my own raps. And now I do them all the time and people are sick of them.
No, never.
But like the first like few years where I was really starting to do drag in like a professional way, I was like, people don't want to hear this, and they do. They do. So that's, I mean, from me to you, like, trust me, we want that live stuff. And like anyone who goes to a show like just to hear a song that they've heard 100 times for the last 20 years, grow up.
I know. Grow up. Expand your horizons.
Yes. Try something new. Eat some escargot. Live a little.
Oh my God, never. Eat some escargot.
You've never had escargot?
Oh, I can't.
Why not?
You know, I've had like...
Have you tried it?
No.
You know what it is? It's mostly a vehicle for butter. Do you like lobster?
That's true. Not really.
Have you tried lobster?
I tried like...
Did you have it with a lot of butter?
I tried like the tiniest piece of lobster. All
right, well, we're going to Portland this weekend, so we are. I'm going to get up.
I'm going to have to try it. Mm-hmm.
You paint.
Yes.
You do music.
Yes.
You play instruments and produce your own music? Do you have like a recording studio at home?
No, I wish I did. I have like my equipment at home.
And by recording studio, great. I mean like, do you have a laptop with a microphone?
Well, yeah, that I do have, and some GarageBand.
Yeah.
I do actually for Christmas like years ago. This is probably like 10 years ago now. My parents, as like a gift for like my sister and I, my sister Shannon, and we both like wanted to record music and stuff, and so they got us like this like nice little microphone and like this little thing that goes over it, and like it felt so official and fancy. This thing, whatever you call it.
I don't know.
The mic condom or whatever they call them. Oh, no, that's the thing that goes around the top.
I have no idea.
Whatever it is. But, so they got us, like, some equipment to try it out. But I have a friend that actually, like, 7 Minute Hostage Conversation, the song that I performed, they have, like, a little studio in their apartment. Oh. And they're very, like... They're just so professional. Like, they've been in a couple bands. They produce a lot of music. Craig, shout out to Craig.
Hey, Craig.
And so he did the producing for that one. We kind of just went back and forth and bounced around ideas, and that was like a cool experience because before that, any music that I tried to make was always just myself, like in my room. I've recorded in my car, just like anywhere around where I could get some peace and quiet.
I was going to say, a car is a great place to practice music. God, that's where I write most of my raps, is like when I'm on long drives, actually.
There's something about a car that just like makes it so much more comfortable. Even like singing in a car for some reason is easier for me than like being in a building and singing.
And the craziest part about that is like, you think you have privacy. You have no privacy in a car. You are on display. The amount of times I've like driven past people who are like picking their nose or like, you know, pulling out like a hair or I floss my teeth a lot when I'm in my car. I'm sure people are driving by me like
no, people do think that they just have like the most
and like
privacy.
Cars aren't soundproof.
No. Oh my God, my neighbors probably always heard me singing and recording in my car.
There was a time not too long, probably within the last few years, where I had this realization that like cars aren't soundproof, and I was like, wait, wait, all those Rage Against the Machine songs I've been practicing in my car, people can hear that.
It's just like,
people can hear that.
Oh my God, have you ever heard like a phone call? Like if you're outside of a car and they get a phone call? It's as if there's speakers outside the car.
It's incredible. But the amount of like,
Oh yeah, I used to have all my therapy appointments in my car, and I'm like, wow.
And you see people like walking by and you're like, this is private.
Yeah,
no.
like, oh damn. They're just listening.
One of the favorite things I've heard coming out of somebody else's car was something to the effect of like, it better not be a fucking giraffe statue again.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I need to know more.
Yes, like please tell.
Come back. It's like, oh man, I wonder if there's how many giraffe statues are there?
Like, I want to see the house.
Like, that's one of those when you have an accidental collection because somebody buys you something and somebody else sees that and goes, I'm going to buy them that because they collect, and then suddenly you have a collection of these trinkets of things that you have no interest in.
You just have a whole room of it now. My drag, everything, like, I think people would have a heart attack if they saw, like, how I kept everything.
Paint the picture.
So, actually, it's gone now, so I had to, like, move it around. But I used to have this, like, pool table. And underneath the pool table, it was all open. And I literally, up until probably, like, only months ago, I kept all of my drag just literally piled under this pool table. Like, not in bags, nothing. It's just like
just
piled.
on the floor under the pool table.
Yes. Every show, I would just have to pull everything out and separate it and choose what I wanted. And then put it all back. Oh, it's insane, the conditions. I was like keeping everything in. And now that the pool table is gone, because I gave it to a friend, it just moved to the corner of the room. And I keep telling myself I'm going to get a storage unit to put it in and just like hang up racks and
now,
like do all this cute stuff.
What room in your house is this? Like, is this your bedroom that had a pool table in it, or is all your drag stuff like in the living room?
It's like downstairs so my grandmother used to live downstairs. Like,
it's like a little in-law finished basement situation?
Yeah, so it's like a little like living room down there. So
it's out of the way.
Yeah.
Your family isn't just like walking
out of the way. Yeah. Sometimes they are, honestly.
They're like,
if I do a show, I just text her around. I'm like, I'm sorry, like I'll clean it up, and it's like the whole basement's just like drag everywhere. But I need like a better system for sure.
I mean, mine, I start with the best of intentions where I have things in like specific piles or drawers or baskets, and then we'll do 4 shows over a weekend, and then I walk into like my drag space and it's just piles, and I'm like, okay, time to like put everything back in its place so I can now get in a drag and ruin it again.
Yes.
So
oh my God,
that's the process.
I feel like it's impossible. Like even doing makeup, like I always say, like I use one thing and I'll put it back, and it just never happens.
I try.
Because you reach for it again, and the next thing you know, everything's just out.
Well, that's why I try to be super minimalist. Like over the years, like I've only very recently started getting into like full faces of makeup, probably since 2020. Yeah. So I've very, very slowly built what I use for makeup. And like if I make sure I like run out of something before I try to experiment with something else, because I'm just like, I don't have the room, and I know that if I buy all the things I want to play with, I will be lost in a pile of things forever. Or even clothes. Like when you see people like drag artists who have like all these very specific looks, I'm like, that's incredible. How do you have the space for it?
Oh my God,
I need 10 outfits that I can rotate all the things in and out because I don't have the room.
Yeah. I know.
Just envious of people's real estate. I live in a really small apartment.
For real.
That's why most of my drag is t-shirts. I can fold them up real small.
Yeah. I know. I'm not working with a lot of room, too. That's why my bodysuits are just like, I can fold them up or like roll them really tiny. So they're just
like kings who have like the rubber chest plate. I'm like, where do you store that? In your closet?
For real.
I don't have the room. I also don't have the sensory thing. I think the asthma, being stuck in a rubber suit, I would have some sort of panic attack. Yeah. That's why I work out.
A little buff.
Thanks.
A little macho.
Well, the best compliment I've ever gotten on my body is somebody once thought my body was a chest plate.
Wow.
And I was wearing something kind of meshy like this, and they were just like, that looks so real.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
you're like, what?
This is my body. Thank you so much.
Wait, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you don't even need
tape
one.
real good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I try.
Oh my
I did
God.
the binder game for a while. Yeah. It's uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh my
and
God.
tape is expensive, but I try to write it off on my taxes. So with all of your various arts, being a painter, being a musician from a young age, when did drag start to kind of creep its way? And as far as like being queer, did you know from a young age and then you kind of moved into drag, or did drag start popping up and then you started kind of recognizing, like, what was that like for you with like your art and queerness? Because I found that a lot of people, it goes hand in hand, whether one leads to the other, but usually it's like a journey of art and gayness and exploring it through that.
I was very young, like early elementary school, that I feel like I kind of feel like I always knew that something was a little different about me.
We know.
Yeah.
We all know.
Yeah.
Us gays.
True.
Us
it's
queers.
Like, you're born and you just know.
You just know.
But I feel like it was like very early elementary school, like kindergarten maybe, with that I just really was like, okay, like I feel like I'd have always like crushes on like honestly, I'd have crushes on, like, the other boys and girls, like, in school, and I'm always like, what's this? Like, what's going on?
What
like,
are these feelings?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then, like, I think through, honestly, like, being bullied, like, a lot.
Aww.
Like, and I know, like, it was a tragic time, but, like, middle school and stuff was, like, really rough. But I feel like through being bullied, I kind of was like, okay, like, everyone's telling me I'm different, and I was like, so
maybe I am.
I was like, so like not everyone here is on the same page. I was like, so not everyone here is like thinking this way, and it was unfortunate that I guess that would be how I'd find out, but
you don't realize that you're different till other people are like, you're different.
You're different, and you're just like, am I okay?
Oh, whoops.
Thanks for letting me know, but yeah, and that journey was always that journey was honestly rough, like school and everything, just I was always trying to hide like who I was, and even when I first started experimenting with like wigs and makeup, and it was in high school, but even actually before that, like I used to put a towel like around my head and pretend it was
classic.
Like long hair, and like would put on my mom's shoes, and like I was always very drawn to that kind of stuff, and then eventually, I think it was like Five Below that I ended up going into, and like sweating, probably like so red, like buying like a powdered foundation and like a few things, and I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna experiment with like makeup, and so it wasn't until that I started to discover that I loved like putting makeup on, and that's when I met Maxine, Justin, like in high school, and our friends and their family, like, you know, Shauna.
I do know
Shauna. Like her family and Carlene, like they all were so open, and like they loved drag, and like that I think that's the first time I watched RuPaul's Drag Race was going to their house, and we all met through theater, through like theater at high school.
I was gonna say, where did you all meet? But that makes sense.
Of course. It was the drama club.
I was gonna say, where do the queers find each other in high school?
It's not always the case. Yes.
Theater.
And I was in both of them. So.
D&D.
Yes. Yeah, and so I went to their house one day, and I think it was season 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race that I saw, and I was like, oh my god, wait, this is like so cool, like I love this. And I feel like before that I really didn't I didn't know a ton about like the drag community and things like that, and so that's when like Maxine and I started doing makeup together, and I would go over to his house and we would do makeup and take photos and look terrible in the beginning.
Well,
but
it's the process.
in the moment you think you look incredible. You're like looking in the mirror and you're like,
because you do.
This? Yeah,
then you just get better.
Yeah, exactly. The techniques grow, and we just discovered such like a love for it that like multiple times a week we were just like doing sometimes 2 looks in a night, and like we would just like, oh my god, the amount of makeup I went through just like in those early times. And I think I had some like Party City wigs, and just like
love Party City.
Yeah, we used to go to like the Burlington Coat Factory and get lingerie.
Oh my goodness.
I know, we were getting a little scandalous, but and we started performing in their backyard, like their family's backyard, and we would perform for their family.
Did you charge them too?
No, those shows were free. But the effort that they put in sometimes, like, was so cool. Like, they built a stage in the backyard.
What?
Yeah, some, like, plywood.
That's
like,
really cool.
They really, like, it was such a safe space for us. And it, like, I mean, I didn't actually talk to my parents about my sexuality and, like, drag and everything until I was 22. So, it, like,
really?
Yeah, it took a while.
Were they like...
They like knew. Yeah, no, it was honestly like we just sat down for dinner and they just wanted me to say it finally. And
they're like, can you just be out already so we can just talk normally?
Oh, yeah. And they both knew and everything. And so I used to always have like my packages for drag like sent to Maxine's house, and it was always a secret. And actually, that's probably how the pool table situation was born. Because,
you were hiding it at first?
Yes, so I would like hide it in certain places, and yeah, it just like kind of flourished from there. And I feel like doing those backyard performances and those like campground performances, even though they were probably, sometimes I laugh thinking back on them because I'm like, we're just making a whole family sit in the backyard and watch us like parade around in lingerie.
I know so many people, maybe not lingerie specifically, but the amount of like theater and drag and music kit, like the amount of families who had to sit through like living room and backyard talent shows where I'm just like, thank God for the families who sat through those
so
things.
supportive.
My sister and I used to make like music videos.
Oh, I love that.
Where it was like we would do "Isn't It Ironic" by Alanis, but like we'd be acting it out and like it's like yeah, we'd have the umbrellas and pretend that it was hurricaning on us. If I find it, if it still exists, I would show it to you. Yeah. I'm sure someone, maybe my sister has it tucked away somewhere. Yeah, she'll probably be like, absolutely not.
I know, right?
We'll have to censor her out, but you can watch me do it.
Oh my goodness.
Or I have like videos of me dressed up as like a cheerleader, like with my sister when I'm like 4, like doing the Somerville High fight song as like a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
I do that a lot still as an adult.
That's incredible.
It's got, Somerville High is so old. Like that school, I think celebrated like its 150th anniversary while I was going there.
Oh, wow.
So it could be more. I don't know. But like that fight song is so old and so like old-timey and good, and they still do. And I remember being in high school and they teach you it, so every once in a while I'll like break into it and people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, did your high school not have like an aggressive fight song?
Fight song.
But I was lucky enough to go to you did not, where'd you go, Peabody High?
Yeah.
No fight song for Peabody High?
I don't think we had a fight song.
Go Tanners. Well, right?
Yeah,
what were you guys?
Our principal, I think he like retired my senior year, but like our principal used to just always say, let's get it on.
Let's get
Which
it
I guess
on.
just saying it like that is like, but he literally would like at the end of everything he would always just say like, let's get it on.
Oh God. That's
so
pretty
I suppose that was our
What was your fight song? Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. Oh no.
Good old Peabody High.
Oh my God, incredible.
No.
My only experience with Peabody High when I was in high school was I did exactly one track meet before I realized how fucking boring being on the track team was, and it was against Peabody. Yes. And I just remember being like, I'm too far away to get home on my own.
Yeah.
How do I leave?
Oh my God, that's so fun. I did track.
Then I quit track after that.
Oh my God. Wait, did you do cross country or like the...
No.
See, I did cross country.
I did like shot put. Like these arms, I did shot put.
I see. Wait, was that the one where you jump over hurdles?
No, that's when you have to like throw the thing.
Oh my God.
You have to put the shot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did do some running, but I was real like thick even in high school. So they would be like, you're not fast. I'm like, I'm literally running as fast as all like I have muscle mass and all this jiggle. Like I'm going fast, but they didn't want to put me in up against the skinny kids.
Wow.
And I'd be like, listen, they're more aerodynamic, but I got more power behind me. So just don't make me run more than a 100-yard dash and I'm good.
Oh, see, I did cross country and it was like, I was also always like, a little thick and stuff. And I just like, I always was coming in last and stuff. But see, I would start off really strong. Yeah. And that was my mistake. Like I would start running and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like in front of everyone.
You just kind of have to almost walk in that first. Yeah. My sister did cross country for a while. And I was like, that sounds horrible.
Oh my God. Through the woods and everything. Oh, it was really.
I did rowing in high school and they made us run a mile before practice every day.
Oh my God. And you had to get in there and row a boat.
Hated it. And like most of us barely ran. We'd kind of like power walk and then the coaches would bike by us and we'd, pick it up again. But that's the worst.
Sports.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sports. Go sport.
That's intense.
Yeah. I did all the...
You did the really intense ones.
Okay. I have really bad hand-eye coordination as far as like ball-based sports.
Yeah.
So, like, I did basketball in, like, the 5th and 6th grade because I was this tall in the 5th and 6th grade and nobody else had really pubed out that hard yet.
Towering over
so it wasn't
everyone.
good, but I could just kind of be there. And then when everyone else got to be this height, they realized how bad I was. So I dropped out of basketball.
No. Yeah.
And I did crew for a while, and I don't have the right knees for crew. I'm lacking a particular kind of cartilage in my knee, so I had to drop that after a few years.
Yeah.
And then I did boxing, which they didn't have at my high school, but they had like a local boxing club, so I had like boxed for my senior year of high school.
Wow.
And then like the end of my senior year, I tried to go out for softball, and they were like, listen, we want you on the team, but where have you been for the last 4 years? We can't put you on varsity because we have to reserve the spots for all the people who've been here.
Yeah.
So like, we don't want to put you on the team as like JV. So like, join the summer league, but we can't put you on the team. Sorry. And I was like, well, I would have been the designated hitter anyway. And they don't actually have those in softball. So
they don't.
They like to stick me in right field because like I can hit really well, but like catching and throwing, like when that ball leaves my hand, I don't know where it could go on the ground in front of me. It could go all the way over there.
Yeah.
So I had to do things where I'm like, I'm using my full body, but like I don't have to aim.
Yeah. No, that's hard.
Yeah.
I'm not good with like catching things too.
Yeah. No.
Not a time. When I did baseball, I was just like drawing pictures in the field and stuff.
Were you also in right field?
I was
just like twirling.
Yeah, but I would just be drawing pictures in the field, and then I did like soccer and stuff, and my dad.
I could never. My feet aren't that coordinated.
Oh, yeah. That I liked, but
I could do
honestly,
kickball.
I just like ran. Oh yeah, kickball's fun.
Like they don't really have. I guess they have like adult rec leagues of kickball, but.
Yeah. I think I was just always like dancing through all the sports I did. Like soccer, I'd be running down the field, but like in some sort of like weird, like
just
dancing-esque way. Yeah. I truly just always wanted to be a performer.
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't
You were like,
happening
this
at that
field
time.
is my stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Exactly.
When the queer kids try sports.
It's a time.
Well, I always joke that my like high school girlfriend, I was like, she was a 3-sport lesbian because she did softball, volleyball, and not football, softball, and basketball.
Oh, no.
And like when I met her, I was like, okay, she's gay. And when her family met me, they were like, you made her gay. And I was like, have you met her? How many softball games have you gone to of hers? I'm like, with that haircut, you think I made her gay?
I love.
Okay,
Like, let's be real here.
Let's come on.
Oh my goodness, too good.
We like met at her softball game, and I was like, you think this was me?
Like,
I'm flattered.
Really? Yeah. You're like, I don't think I can really just turn someone gay.
I mean,
but like, who knows?
it's my gay agenda.
Who knows? Buster Pants.
Buster
over
Pants.
here. Yeah.
Just the responsibility of the amount of sexualities I've awoken over the years.
Everyone
it's
is
a
attracted
lot.
to Buster Pants.
I don't mean it to be that way. I grew up ugly, so it's very validating as an adult to be like, oh no, you're all attracted to me.
Just like sex symbol.
Ugh.
You're like, no.
I mean, thank you. Yes, I'll take it. Speaking of sexuality, something I wanted to touch on today, because I think it's something that you and I both kind of deal with in the drag scene. Bisexuality erasure. I feel like a lot of people don't know that you're actually bisexual because I feel like in the drag scene, they see a drag queen and think gay male. They see a drag king, they think lesbian.
Yeah.
But we're both bisexual baddies.
Yeah.
So what is that like for you?
You know, it's funny because I feel like people always just assume I'm gay, or they'll just like announce that. Like they'll just be like, oh, like you're gay. And I don't know why over the years I've always just been like, yeah, okay. Like I'll just like, I wouldn't even correct them and be like, I'm bisexual. Because I feel like when you do say that, there are people that will just look at you and be like, okay, like, sure.
The bi erasure is real.
Yeah. And it really is like such like a thing where there's so many people that just don't believe that, or they just think you're confused. And like it is like a drag queen, like you're a guy that like dresses up as a woman and everything.
Yeah, of course you're gay.
Like,
what do you mean?
How could you possibly
How could you
be
possibly
into
attracted to women?
Yeah. But it's funny. I feel like for so long I just kind of accepted people just like assuming I was gay that now it's almost hard for me to like correct them because they're like, but they're like, you've always just said yes when we refer to you as being like a gay man or something. I'm like, well,
I think a part of that too is like the colloquialism of like gay has kind of turned into a catch-all for queer. Like the way when people identify as queer, I try to use that more than gay now because I am specifically bisexual. When I say I'm gay, people hear lesbian.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, sapphic to be sure, but I definitely sleep with all the genders.
Yeah.
I've had relationships with all the ones I've come across.
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure there's more out there than I could ever possibly find in a lifetime. But yeah, I feel like I find myself coming out more frequently and having to tell people like, no, I actually do sleep with like cis men.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone's like,
they're like, what?
with that haircut?
Just
I'm like, yeah.
Brain explodes. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, particularly in the drag scene too. And I feel like even more for like a drag queen to say they're bisexual, I feel like it might be less surprising for a king or a thing. Yeah. But I feel like particularly like for a drag queen to be like, totally. You're bisexual? That's not real. Pick a team already.
Yeah, I know. Because I don't know. Maybe I just haven't met, or like I guess it's not all the time that I'm at a show and like other performers are just saying their sexuality out loud. But I feel like it's not common, I guess, that you come across like a bisexual drag queen. Yeah.
Or that people know of because the lack of representation or the assumptions that you're not. Yeah.
I remember like when, I mean, I guess they're not necessarily like bisexual, but like Maddie Morphosis on Drag Race when they said they were straight, and like even still today.
The notorious straight queen.
Yeah, exactly. And even still today, people are like, there's no way, like they're not straight, like this and that. And I'm like, yeah, and even if they were bisexual, people would probably still sit there and give them such a hard time. But
people love to label other people with like what they know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, I don't watch enough of what that queen is up to, but I'm just sort of like, if that, like, let people identify how they want. Like, drag is queer, but that doesn't account for who you're sleeping with. It's just like queer to be playing in gender. Oh, yeah. So it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to sleep with particular genders or not.
It's an art form, and anyone can take part in that art.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you love. Yeah. My longest relationship actually was with a woman.
Oh.
Yeah.
And was this like high school, like post high school?
It was like beginning of high school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. My first like high school boyfriend was definitely gay. Mm-hmm. And we met on vacation one summer. We were like on a cruise ship and we met, and I was like, this is my new gay bestie. Cause like you're in high school, you're bisexual baddie. You're like, I need my gay bestie.
Yeah, of course.
So we met on vacation and we had a wonderful time. We did lots of karaoke. And I grew up in Somerville and he lived in Braintree at the time. So we're like, cool, we're not even that far away from each other. We can still be friends after this. So we started hanging out, and then he was like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I was like,
you're like,
what?
Like, this is a lot different than what I thought.
I was very open even then to be like, okay, I feel like I'm masculine enough that he's attracted to something, but like, I'm going to see where this goes. And like when you're 14, you know, it's whatever either way. Yeah. But like we dated for a few months, and I just remember like having the time of my life. It was like one of the least sexually active relationships. Like it was definitely awkward when we kissed and stuff, but we went on like so many grand adventures and had such a great time. And he's, you know, still very gay, married to a man now. I think we follow each other on Instagram. Cute. So if you're watching this, hey, I won't drop a first and last name, but you know who you are. And then after that, I was with a girl for like 2 years. So I had a very queer high school experience. And then everybody else came out as adults, which is fine. Yeah. Good for them.
How wild, like even like early 2000s, like even 2010s, like how different it was to like how it is now.
I ended up getting voted in my yearbook most daring.
Oh.
And like at the time that didn't make any sense to me because I didn't do like I don't like roller coasters. I don't go skydiving. I don't really travel very much. I like to be cozy and chill at all times. And then I remember when we got like you get like the little form to fill out to vote, like cutest couple and this and that. They handed me mine. I literally threw it away.
Oh my God.
Because I was like, who am I to pass judgment? And also like most of my friends in high school weren't in my grade. They were all older than me. So by the time I was a senior, I was like, I don't know any of these people. Yeah. Like the people I went to class with, but I wasn't close with any of them. So I threw it away. And then like weeks later when they're like, okay, like if you want a superlative, come down to the atrium to take photos. And they like kept making the announcement. And finally someone was like, hey.
Oh my God.
We're waiting on you.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, you won a superlative. And I was like,
wait, that's so funny.
What? So I got down there and they were like, you got most daring. And it was me.
Hey.
And the guy who won was the only male cheerleader.
Okay.
Who was also like captain of the football team.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know if he's ever come out later in life. At the time, he was straight. The last time I saw him, probably over a decade ago, straight. But
Interesting.
it was a very like queer coded superlative where it was just like, it's daring for him to be a straight male cheerleader, and it's just daring for me to be like a bisexual teenager with weird hair.
Wait, but you were just like authentically yourself.
Yeah, and like that was daring, you know, in 2007.
Because everyone was like so worried. I feel like, well, I mean, bullying still is like very much prevalent today, but I feel like at that time it was like sticking to kind of like the status quo, and like everyone was trying to fit in and wear the same type of clothes and stuff, and you were just marching to the beat of your own drum.
I truly, like, my fashion sense has changed very little my whole life. I think about some of my strangest outfits that I wore in high school, and I'm like, I'd still wear that. Yeah. Like, I was definitely one of those like early 2000s like Avril Lavigne like tie over the t-shirt and ripped men's jeans. I had like furry boots and a top hat.
Incredible.
I was weird. I had a top hat that I wore to school sometimes.
Very clearly the most daring.
Oh God, yeah. And I had, I mean, I've learned my lessons, but I had dreads in high school on a few different occasions. I had like when I had long hair, like a really deep undercut. I did a lot of weird stuff to my hair in high school. One day for breast cancer awareness, I did like one gigantic Liberty spike with like a breast cancer ribbon off of it, and I had to like duck to get through doorways.
You were a fashion icon.
I was a weirdo, but I had a good time. You know.
Yeah. See, that didn't happen for me until probably like my senior year. Really like being like myself, and like, because even the beginnings of like, well, I guess no, like drama club, I was always myself.
Oh, yeah,
that was like a safe
let you
space.
Get away with that there.
Yeah, that was a safe space. But honestly, I feel like at that time I was just always in a leather jacket. Well, what? But today?
Were you?
Apparently that was just strange. But like, I did not miss a day like without my leather jacket. Like,
even when was hot out?
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Just stuck with it. Yeah. Was always in all black and still am.
I remember a friend came to me in school once and was just like, "Are you goth?" And I was like, "I don't think so."
Yeah, you're like,
I hang out with a lot of kids who wear all black, but like, I feel like goth is a specific kind of effort that I was not putting in. It's like I just have a lot of black T-shirts because they match with everything.
More like the scene.
Are you goth? I was like, well, I've got goth friends and I've got the artsy friends and I have the metalhead friends, and we're all wearing black T-shirts. Yeah. So
different, like, different styles and stuff. And
I don't think I'm goth. I was like, I don't wear any makeup or.
I feel like goth is really
don't listen to a lot of dark wave.
Yeah.
I'm probably more goth now, and even still, like, not by much. I'm more goth by association. You know, I've through the gravity of algebra, I've acquired some gothness.
Yeah. I feel like if you spend a lot of time in Salem, in some ways you just like adapt. Yeah.
I've got a black cat, you know. I've got a broom that was given to me by a witch.
I even find like my drag, even just like all the time, for looking at like the beginnings of my drag to now, like it's
gotten a little more goth. Oh, you and your like feather collar and your
and I saw like a photo of my first show at the Dine-In, and that was like one of my first shows in Salem, and I was in this like bright yellow wig, shaved face, shaved body.
What?
Yes, like this bright silver.
I don't even remember this person.
Oh my God, I look at the photos and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Scary.
I feel like my first drag brunch, I maybe had like eyeshadow, and like I used to get temporary tattoo mustaches because I was so nervous about drawing them on and just like wiping them off. Yeah. So I'd get temporary tattoos, and they fit my face so poorly that eventually I started like painting over them to like make them fit better. But like that first one, I had like a really ill-fitting mustache and my big white wig and like a crown on it.
Oh my God.
It was a look.
Yeah.
I think I've grown since then a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's like not even that long ago. That's like
it's
2021.
Fast. Like, and it really is crazy because even I think mine, that was like 28. No. 2019, I think, was like my first dine-in. No, it wasn't 2019. When did it
would
start?
have been 2020 or 2021 because I think they started after like the pandemic, after everything started reopening.
I think
because Diamond moved back because of the pandemic.
Yes.
So
I think it must have been the very
it was 3-year
beginning
anniversary, so it must have been 2021 because this Pride, the first weekend of Pride
it
was
2021. Why does it feel so much longer? That's crazy.
Because time flies when you're having fun.
It's so true. It does fly by.
It really does
it's like
fly
insane.
by. Well, I remember the first time we met. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When I was working on the food truck?
Yes. Oh my God, you gave me my little pulled pork sandwich.
I did. And then I had all those leftover empanadas. And I was like, hey, so we're all friends now. And please take these because otherwise I have to throw them away.
Oh my God. That was on the Gentilly.
Gentilly, yeah.
Yeah. I used to call it like Gentile or something like that, but I think it's like Gentilly.
It's Gentilly.
Yeah.
Gentile is also a word, but it's their last name is Gentilly, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm like 99% sure. So Gentilly, if you're watching this and I'm wrong, please let me know.
Right? Oh my God, I do remember that. And I was actually kind of nervous because going up to the food truck, just because I think like I was with Maxine and they were saying, they were like, oh my God, like that's like Buster Pants.
What?
And like, yeah, they like knew who you were. And like they were just like, they were really talking you up. So I went up to the truck and ordered
Maxine
my food.
Was talking me up. Maybe
like,
Diamond was talking me up because I think that was the first time I met Maxine too.
Because the three of us were taking photos and then we went over to the truck, so maybe it was like Diamond.
Yeah.
Okay, it was Diamond.
That was the first time I met Maxine too.
And so I went up to the truck and I was like intimidated. I was like, hi.
Oh my God. Me in like my backwards hat, being like, you want an empanada? At one point, the roads diverged for me where I was working on this food truck, and like the first Pride where I had something booked every single weekend, I gave them like 2 months notice to be like, hey, you know, in June, I know we're really busy on Saturdays, but like I'm giving you 2 months notice. Like I can't work Saturday nights because I'm going to be doing drag.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my God, that's so good for you. Like follow your dreams. That's amazing. And then the end of May rolled around and they were like, hey, so we're going to offer you a $2 an hour raise, but only if you don't do drag on Saturdays in the summer.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah, no.
And they were like, okay, well, your hours might get cut then if you can't work Saturdays. And I was like, I can literally work Sunday through Friday. And they were like, well, if you can't work Saturdays, I don't think we can give you the hours. Yeah. And then the first week of June, they called me to be like, we're taking you off the schedule permanently.
Wow.
So there was like this very specific, the roads diverge where like I could have been a really well-paid cook, which was like a good job. I like working in the restaurant industry, but I could have been this really well-paid cook on a food truck and I was having a great time, but I would have had to give up drag to pursue that. And I had to make a decision that summer to be like, is this something that is worth it? Because I was making a ton of money and to get a $2 an hour raise. And I had to pick drag. So I picked drag and I didn't look back. And now it's pretty much my full-time job.
And now I'm just sitting here on your podcast.
And here you are on my podcast.
You're doing so good.
And we're talking about drag. No. So shout out to that particular business in a good and bad way. Because, I mean, I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun. But, like, they put me in the decision where I had to choose. And I didn't choose them. And I don't think they enjoyed that.
And I feel like it's unfortunate that I feel so many jobs are like that, where when it comes to anything in the arts, like a lot of times they won't take it serious.
Yeah.
Because even when I was at Whole Foods, I used to have such a hard time taking time off for shows. And it's like, they're always like, oh, you know, we want you to have a good work-life balance and live your dreams and do this and that and go to school. But then you bring up, like, you're like, oh, I need this time and I can't come here because I'm doing this. You know, you were encouraging me, and they're just like, oh God, no, like we can't have that. And like it's like, and like they would never take like my drag serious. I'm like, it's a lot of work, and it's like I was like, I don't always like to call them like, oh, it's like my second job. It is a job. It's like, it happens to be a job I'm passionate about, so it's like more enjoyable. I feel like when I'm at shows and stuff with everyone, like it doesn't always feel like I'm at a job because I love doing it, but it's a lot of work. And
I think a lot of jobs don't realize, like, when you're taking a night off to do a show or an afternoon off to do a show, they think like, oh, this is your fun little hobby because you're doing it 2 hours every other week. But they don't see the amount of time you're spending in between your regular job and the show, where you're putting together mixes, you're putting together looks, you're practicing, we're doing all this stuff. All that they're seeing is like, oh, you need a Saturday night off, must be really fun. And it's just like, it is fun, but like it's so much work that's going into it that I'm working around my day job or whatever to make this dream come true. So it's nice to, I don't know, find a job that like gives you that kind of respect. And that you also work in the service industry. Server. I was going to say we don't have to name the place so that people don't come and stalk you at your job. Yeah. But like I also work.
You can if you want. Well, you just have to tip me there.
Okay. But yeah, that was like maybe the last subject I wanted to circle to, is being in the service industry while also trying to be in the entertainment industry and the struggle of that. Is it a struggle for you? Do you think you found the right restaurant where they're respectful of it? Or, do you find yourself scrambling a lot? Or
No, actually, I feel like I lucked out in the job that I have, because they, like, when I first told them, I went into it and I was just like, by the way, I'm also like a performer and I will request time off. Sometimes there'll be months where I request a lot more time. June, October. And I'm like, and I really like, this is important to me. Like, I take this very serious. And I was like, and so, I hope that you will too. But, and they honestly have been great, because I really have not had a job that's like respected that and seen anything in the arts as like something serious. And so luckily I don't always have to scramble, which is really nice. Like I put in the time and they're just like, and I had like a manager that grew up in Key West, and so they were like, oh my God,
so they get it.
Yeah, they were like my whole upbringing, like I was around drag queens, and they're like the queen, the shoe on New Year's, and they're like, since I was a kid I was watching the queen drop in a heel. Like,
oh my God.
That's their version of the ball dropping.
I love that.
Incredible. And so I was like, oh, this is cool. Like they are actually like excited about me like performing. And so it's nice.
It's nice.
Yeah, luckily
real nice.
I'm having a much easier time. It would be a dream to be a performer full time, but right now I probably wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
I'd struggle.
I'm on the cusp, which is nice and also really scary, because I've been bartending for the last few years at the same place. And thankfully it's a place where like not a lot of people work full time. Everyone kind of works there part time, and a lot of the other people who work there are either teachers or students locally. So there's a lot of fluctuations in availability. And over, the last 2 years, producing my own shows, and like the Hometown Queeros really coming together to like produce these big things. And my boss has just been so understanding, and just like when I need to change my availability or have times off. And thankfully we have like a big enough part-time staff where there's always people who want the hours. So it works out really well. So even back in like April and May when we were talking about my June availability, and I was like, I'm not going to have a lot of availability in June. And he was like, do you just want the month off? And I was like,
so that's like amazing.
Yeah, I do. But I was so afraid to ask for it, because the last time I asked for a Pride off, I got let go from my job. So, and even, towards the end of June, I went and I was like, hey, so like if you don't need me in July, like I did well enough in June that like now I can take a month off and like just do gigs and relax. So like
that'd be amazing.
Having a non-Pride month, it'll be nice to see like how much I can support myself just doing a normal amount of gigs. So I'm like, I'm dabbling and going full time, but I'm still technically working there. I'm just not on the schedule right now.
I guess that's like that's the dream for like so many artists. But unfortunately, I mean, honestly, we're pretty fortunate to be in a place where people do like see such a value in art and are willing to pay for it, because I think there are some places where people are like, oh, you want to get paid for that, and it's it's
it's a really weird like catch-22 almost, because like living in Salem or living in the North Shore, like I've been here for about 12 years now. And when I first moved here, like the queer people were here, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there were occasional drag shows, but it was usually people coming from out of town, or it was only like once in a blue moon, or like if you were lucky, you could do drag during a burlesque show.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a whole like scene here. And it wasn't really until, in my experience, and I could be wrong if other people have different experiences, but like I didn't really feel like there was a huge queer entertainment scene until after the pandemic.
Totally.
And of course, Miss Diamond had a huge hand in like, you know, the weekly brunch and showing the community like, look, we can have weekly drag shows and people want to come every week. 3 years later, you know, still packs that room.
So cool.
So it was such an inspiration to me, who had like mostly moved in the burlesque scene around here, to be like, oh, I can do what I actually want to do, which is drag. And I mean, I do have a lot of slutty burlesque elements to my drag, obviously. It's hard for me to keep my clothes on if I'm on the stage, but now I can do it for an audience that I want to be seen by, because a lot of burlesque audiences are looking for a particular thing. And when you think burlesque, you think like glamour, femininity, like Dita Von Teese, and there's every kind of burlesque under the sun. But I feel like a lot of people who are just randomly going to a burlesque show are expecting the glitter and the shimmy and a little martini glass, and that's like a very beautiful form of art. But that's not what I'm doing at all. So to do it for an audience of like mostly straight people, or mostly people expecting like that kind of classical experience, and then I come out and they're like,
surprise.
oh no. But when I do my thing in a drag room, it's a lot less like, what is this? It's more like, oh,
and
what is
everyone's like
this?
digging it.
So it's nice to have found my audience through that growth over the last few years. But the negative side to that is, now that there's so much art and so much community and so much things, now people are coming from out of town and now they want to move here, and then the rent goes up. And then so now we're stuck, and all the people who are like just scraping by to do their thing, who've been living here, are now like, oh, now I'm paying triple the rent and I'm getting paid mostly the same. So that's why I want to do drag full time, but I'm just like, I'm not quite able to pay my rent.
It's hard
just doing that, because it keeps going up.
Just the starving artist.
It's like month to month. If you're on Zillow, it's like an apartment that I saw on Zillow, you know, for a studio. It was like $1,500 for, you know, 250 square feet. A month later, it's $1,750.
Oh, it's insane.
What has happened in the last month that now it's $200 more expensive?
No, it's insane.
Thank you. Thank you, R15.
Thank you.
All right. Before I go on a huge rampage about rent.
It's tough. I mean, your speech at the Pride flag raising, I hope, made a mark.
Well, nobody's sent me any rent yet, so
okay.
that's what that was for. I'm like, and you know, I'm Buster Pants, and this is my Venmo. So if you want to pay my rent for me, it's at Pants Buster. Just, you know, drop a little cash in there so I can keep doing drag for a living. You know,
it is cool to see now with so much art and so many shows happening in the area, that so many people that, I mean, when I was younger and starting to do drag, and I didn't see any of those shows around me, that's why Maxine and I always just kind of performed in backyards, and we just did makeup together, because we were like, there is no show in Salem that we can just go to and be like, oh, like, we're new performers, can we perform here? So it didn't happen for us like until like later. But it's cool to see now, like, all these, like, you know, 18, 19-year-olds that are, like, starting to want to do shows. And there's so many outlets, even in Boston, Salem, like, all over. When I was in Boston last time, they said Manchester by the Sea has, like, shows. And, like, I feel like now it's just everywhere. And that's so cool.
It's so beautiful.
Can make you cry. And, like, it's just nice.
We made it through the whole episode without crying.
No.
Well, as we round the corner into the end of this podcast, do you have any anything you want to plug? I mean, this isn't like this will probably come out in a few months. So, you know.
Oh, okay.
If you want to give a shout out to your page, your Instagram, if you have music stuff, if you, whatever you want to kind of leave us with.
Well, like, I don't want it to end, but
we could probably keep talking, but then there'd be a lot of editing. But
Yeah, well, you can follow me on Instagram at Miss Michael Pyrus. It usually just comes up when you type in Miss Michael, but I don't really use much other social media besides that. But well, if it comes out in a couple months, like I might possibly have music out by this time. That's going to be definitely a dream of mine. Like, I've been working on some music, so I need to get over the fear and just release it. So it probably, something will be out by the time this comes out, probably.
Ooh,
so
I hope we're going to have, like, a release party for you.
Oh, my God. That'd be so much fun.
I want to help.
Yeah.
I'll help produce this show.
Yes. I was talking to Jasper, too, and, like, queer videography. Maybe we'd shoot a music video, like, something like that. So I definitely want, Hometown Queers and, like, everyone to be involved. So I'm excited that is an absolute dream of mine. So you can look out for that.
Yeah.
And just the shows that we do, the Big A Night Out, and so many fun, exciting shows that you can catch every month.
Every third Thursday, Big Gay Night Out. Forever.
I always forget like that. I know. You'll never get rid of us.
We'll be there. It's free.
Yeah. I'm just excited. I'm excited to see where this journey takes us. It feels like so many great things are happening. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. Of course. So I hope you had fun.
I had such a good time.
Can't wait for the episode to come out in a bit. So, again, thank you very much. And thank you to our listeners out there. And thank you to Peabody TV, as always, for blessing us with this beautiful studio space. Yes. And my producer, Randall, the very wonderful, talented, brilliant, amazing Randall in the booth, who is probably now blushing back there because, she doesn't like to be put on the spot. One day I'll have her on an episode.
Oh my God,
but only when she's ready.
Yes.
Stay tuned for the next one. Once again, my name is Buster Pants. You can find me all over the North Shore, but mostly on Instagram at PantsBuster. And of course, you can Venmo me my next month's rent at PantsBuster on Venmo as well. So stay tuned for the next one. And thanks for listening, and have a wonderful time, and be queer. Bye.